Good evening, everyone. I am going to try my best to make sure that this is short and sweet, but that might be impossible because there's a lot to go over and even more to digest. So this week on April 15th, I attended a city hall meeting. Nothing special about it. I just had not looked at the agenda because I was running kind of late and needed to set up my camera in time for the meeting to start. Had I looked at the agenda, I might would have noticed that there was a public hearing of some sort of bond. This is where people get to participate by asking questions and or sharing their feelings by making comments on whatever the topic of the hearing is. It's exactly what it sounds like. A time for you to be heard by the people you voted for. Well, boy, oh boy, do I realize why y'all don't get up and speak. Okay, let's start with why I got up to speak this time. Mayor Edward Reynolds moved on to the next item on the agenda, and when he mentioned the name Kozlerick, my radar went off. And I looked up to see because ain't no way this is the same attorney that fought DA Joe Mulholland in the case about the bond, where Mulholland argued that the bond agreement wasn't valid, partially because he didn't get the entire packet of paperwork, amongst other things, like how some of the content of the bond agreement violated Georgia laws. No way this was that same Kozlerick. So I listened attentively as this mystery man went on about a bond for utilities, I think related to the new hotel that's going up right by the bridge to West Bainbridge. As he's talking, I start wondering why. Why is the city going into business with this man? Why are we still having him go over our bonds and paperwork and other legal dealings? I just couldn't understand this. People are mad. People are angry over this nightmare of pollution, animal abuse, and health risk that the city is still dealing with. And when I say city, I mean the citizens and the city of Bainbridge. The city of Bainbridge, as a council, are a part of a lawsuit regarding safer human medicine. So when Mayor Edward Reynolds asked the public if there were any questions, I went and asked. Honestly, I wasn't sure if the attorney who was speaking was Kozlerick, at least not the same one I had in mind. I vaguely remember him from the court proceeding that was held in Bainbridge regarding the citizens suing the multiple boards that were involved in violating the Open Meetings Act.
The citizens have a question about that?
My name is Vina Merritt. I reside at. Given this attorney's past and his dealings with Safer Human Medicine, correct? You have affiliations with Safer Human Medicine, correct?
I looked back at this man for him to verify or correct me that I had the wrong person. Somehow, I just knew it wasn't him. That's when he gestured to the mayor to answer my question. So I followed his hand to see what the answer would be. This is what I was met with.
He was the bond attorney for the city.
Cool. So that's simplifies.
Clarify something.
Yes.
Though. You do not live in the city of Bainbridge, right?
No.
Okay, so you're not a taxpayer for our city.
I do have property here. I have a simple question.
You don't live in the city, right? So
No.
make your point
Yes,
quickly.
I can.
Okay.
I can. My question is, the citizens within the city limits of Bainbridge, should we be dealing with an attorney with such conflicts?
That's our decision to make, so thank
Yes,
you
it
for
is.
asking the question.
Yes, thank you.
Yo, wait a minute. What in the world just happened? How did this escalate in this way? I see why y'all are so afraid to put signs in your yards and in the windows of your businesses. I was legitimately taken aback. I was not expecting such a defensive response. Good grief. Let me respond here, since I really didn't have time to properly address the mayor during the meeting. First point, in my opinion, the city of Bainbridge is located within Decatur County, not the other way around. Decatur County consists of 6 towns: Bainbridge, Attapogus, Climax, Brenson, Faceville, and El Dorado. The county has a population of approximately 26,000 people, with the city of Bainbridge accounting for about 14,000 of that total. Mayor Edward Reynolds wants you to believe that just because you live on the outskirts of the city, you shouldn't question the city's actions or business. But the reality is, the majority of the revenue comes from county residents, not from people in neighboring towns or states. Many people who live in the county still have Bainbridge addresses. Personally, it felt like Mayor Reynolds was attempting to divide the residents of Decatur County, especially when we're facing serious issues like an animal abuse facility that threatens our livelihoods, health, morals, and of course, our peace of mind. Think about it. If this mess is making national and international headlines, why shouldn't county residents question why the city continues to remain legally tied to an attorney who clearly does not represent the interests of the people here? If the world is appalled, why wouldn't the locals be? Also, this part.
Yes.
You do not live in the city of Bainbridge, right?
No.
Okay, so you're not a taxpayer for our city.
I do have property here.
I am part owner of a residential property within the city limits, kind of like a local realtor who was allowed to oppose a bill related to a rental ordinance.
Rollins Miller, 6 Circle, Tallahassee, Florida. I don't think that this is the meeting where there's a public hearing, but I want to go ahead and bring it up regarding the build-to-rent ordinance.
He's a resident of Tallahassee, Florida, and just like me, doesn't live in the city of Bainbridge, but he owns property here, lots of it. Maybe that's the difference. If my small share of property taxes doesn't matter, then why am I paying them in the first place? He didn't get any pushback for speaking out against the city ordinance, but when I asked a question about something that's made international headlines, I got criticized. But let's say I'm a renter. Landlords bank the cost of property taxes into the rent they charge. So when property taxes go up, landlords usually raise their rent to cover it. That means renters end up shouldering part of the tax costs, sometimes all of it. Also, visitors don't pay property taxes, but they do contribute through sales, lodging, and usage taxes, often helping reduce the burden on residents, especially in cities that lean into tourism. This is why Bainbridge is trying so hard to attract more people. They need more revenue from taxes. So why discount the county residents who are contributing to those taxes? The mayor either doesn't know this or he's discounting the contributions of citizens.
That's our decision to make, so thank you for
is.
asking the question.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. The city gets to choose their legal representation. Even though we as citizens don't get a direct vote in who officials use as lawyers, in the state of Georgia, we have the right to hold governing bodies accountable for their decisions, which include the choice of a town's lawyer. One way is by speaking up at board meetings and contacting officials. This is exactly what I did. I wanted to know, so I asked if it was a good idea to still be going on like business as usual with someone who's opposing the interests of so many citizens. See, Kozarek went against Joe Mulholland, who challenged the bond in appellate court. Yes, he is doing his job. He needs this bond to go through to get paid. And that is not in the citizens who oppose this project's best interests. But what is also weird is Kozarek is the one who presented the bond to the multiple boards that attended the December 11th meeting for Safe Human Medicine and the IDA.
I do not, nor have I ever represented Safer Human Medicine. I have no affiliation with that company.
Although he represents the IDA and not Safe Human Medicine, he can be seen in this email being praised by their president for shutting down a local citizen who questioned and showed opposition in front of a judge regarding Safer Human Medicine. So although he's not SHM's lawyer, he sure protects them like one. And here's why.
The bond work that I performed was on behalf of the authority who hired me, who, if that deal ever closes, would be paying me.
The IDA is now against the monkey farm and in a lawsuit over breach of contract, which is great. Conflicting, right? It makes it hard for a citizen to trust any of them. This is why I ask questions. I want to understand why, and I want to know if what I heard and what I know is truth. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to focus on conspiracies. This Safer Human Medicine nightmare is bad all by itself. Without made-up lies. It already is bad. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please start paying attention to what's going on. You live here. And even if you don't, this is an America problem. Why do you think it's on national news? Why do you think it's gone international? This isn't just going to affect Bainbridge. He also accused me of attempting to smear his name, which is not okay. And if that was my intention, I never in a million years would expect a question to be what it takes to do so.
But the idea that someone can stand up and essentially smear me at a public meeting, I find troubling.
As you know, I highly recommend that you attend these meetings for yourself. These videos reflect my personal views and feelings based on my own experiences and observations. So don't rely on me for things that you can witness firsthand. You are very much needed at these meetings and your voice has value.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. You do a fine job of representing us in bond issues, and I appreciate your professional service tonight.